Okay, I can also talk about the construction aspect of our development program. I think we have all seen the main office that the council has come up with, and we hope also to move there by this year. We've also constructed, a multi-purpose youth center for excellence for the youths, and it's also in its advanced stages. The office is completed, but the youth center is at its advanced stage, and we hope also to have it completed this year. So I think that was the summarized version of what we are doing over the 20 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bacheli, the Chief Executive Officer of Banjul City Council. Now we'll move on to the presentation of the financial statements by the Director of Finance. So what we'll do, we can do both 2019 and 2020 together, just basing on the key highlights. You might as well direct us to the relevant pages so that the committee members can follow suit. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. My name is Mamadou Kamara Bisake, Director of Finance, Banjul City Council. Chair, good morning, Chair, honorable members of this very august committee, Lord Mayor, Banjul City Council, National Audit Office representatives, GPPA representatives, my CEO on my left-hand side, and all protocols duly and humbly, respectfully observed. I'll take this portion of this presentation to invite you to go to this document, which is the embodiment of the audit report. It's an embodiment of the financial statements, and it's an embodiment of the management letter. And I'll invite you to go to page 11, where the summaries are laid for the financial year, 1st of January to 31st December 2019. And in councils, Banjul City Councils in particular, we report, or we carry out our financial reports on a cash basis, whereby it's divided into two facets, which is the revenue and the expenditure. So if you go to page 11, the summaries are laid before us. And the beautiful thing about the presentation is you have a background, 2018 as a check to 2019. And if you look at page 11, on the top, we have the revenue, and underneath, we have the expenditure. And the total revenue that was made by Banjul City Council in 2019 amounted to 76.8 million. This was the revenue that council was able to harvest from the instruments that are given to us to collect taxes and run our operations. 76.8 million was raised, and our total expenditure went to 81.4 million, giving us a deficit of 4.5 million. When you go back to the revenue, what are the categories that make up the revenue? Is divided into admin revenue, trade license, partial cost recovery is what we call waste, mbalit, the revenue that we get from it. And you have the markets, you have rates and taxes, LEMPO, and you have the car park fees, and finally, grants and subventions. Together, that company makes up 76.8 million. Admin revenue was 10.3 million in the year under configuration, which is 1st of January to the 31st December 2019. Trade license, we made 40.7 million. Mbalit, we were able to make 1.4 million. Markets brought us 10 million. Rates and taxes brought us 9.2 million. Car park fees brought us 3.8 million. Grants and subventions 1.6 million. And that gave us a global watches budget of 76.8 million. You look at the expenditure. the components that I'm reading now make up the total expenditure, which is 81.4 million. Emoluments, 26.6 million. Admin expenditure, 16.3 million. Cleansing services, 6.5 million. Education, 763,470. Social services, 1.5 million. Youth, sports and culture, 1.7 million. Maintenance and repairs, 1.4 million. Development expenditure, 26.5 million. That gives us a global expenditure budget of 81.4 million. So if you look at it in 2019, we came up with a deficit because we spent 4.5 million above our revenue. That is the summary for the year under concession to 1st of January 2019 to 31st December 2019. I will take you to the last summary, which is the year under concession 1st of January 2020 to 31st December 2020.
Sorry, let's proceed to page 12 of 2019 so that we can have the statement of affairs, the balance sheet.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Okay.
And then you look at the balance sheet. The balance sheet, which is on page 12. And then the balance sheet outlines the current assets and the liabilities. And under the current assets, we have the cash and bank balances, 329,568.37 as at 31st December 2019. Receivables means the debtors, money that should come, but it's just to be collected. Debtors is receivables, 10.9 million. Advances, 1.6 million. That gives us a total asset of 12.8 million. And you look at the liabilities side, which is the loan, bank loan and overdrafts, 13 million. Sundry payables, 88,926.67. The accumulated fund is in negative, 293,499.01. And we have a suspend accounts of 28,116.73. That closes the balance sheet at 12,811,500.86. That will take us to that closes the chapter for 2019. But as I said earlier on, we always have the prior year 2018 as a benchmark to look at what has taken place in 2019. When you go to 2020, 1st of January to 31st December 2020, it's on page 11 again, inside. It's on page 11. Page 11, I think, let's look at it. Yeah, because the issue here is we had 2 documents, or 4 documents fused in one. And I think we didn't do it alone. We do it in conjunction with the National Audit Office. So I think, but if you go deeper, there's another page 11 where you have 2020 and 2019 late. Yeah. After page 20, that book, 2019 book finished at page 34. 2019 finishes at page 34. So after page 34, you have page 1. That gives you, because it's 2 financial years that is being considered in one book. Because the audit took 2 financial years. And then when you get to page 34, that closes 2019. And you have page 1. Then page 11 gives you the executive summary for 2020. Are we together? Okay. For 2020, our total revenue was 65.8 million. And we can see there's a drop in the revenue there because it will coincide with the COVID year and all those unplanned and unforeseen occurrences. So a total revenue of 65.8 million was made in 2020, and the composition that brought us that 65.8 million is admin revenue 4.3 million, trade license 35.4 million, partial cost recovery, which is waste management, brought us 840,300. Markets brought us 7.6 million. Rates and taxes, Lempo brought us 6.6 million. Car park fees brought us 3.7 million. Grants and subvention brought us 7.3 million, giving us a total budget revenue of 65.8 million. And we have the flip side of it, which is the expenditure element. The expenditure, our total expenditure in the year under consideration, which is 1st of January 2020 to 31st December 2020, was 61.5 million was spent. And then that gave us a surplus as against the deficit we had the prior year, 2019. We had a surplus of 4.4 million. And what components made up the expenditure? Emoluments took 28.2 million. Admin expenditure took 17.5 million. Cleansing service took 7.6 million. Education, we only spent 143,641 on it because it was COVID. Social services, we spent 411,110. Youth, sports and culture, we just spent under $1 million, 965,743. Maintenance and repairs, 1.4 million, and development expenditure, 5.3 million. Gave us a total expenditure of 61.4 million. As against the revenue of 65.8 million, council came up with a surplus of 4.4 million. When you go to the balance sheet sector, you have the balance sheet, the current assets versus the liabilities. Our total assets has emerged from 12.8 million to 16 million. And what components made up the assets, current assets? You have cash and bank balances, 329,000. Receivables, debtors, 12.6 million. Advances, 3 million. Our liabilities, bank overdraft and bank loan, 6.8 million. Sundry payables, 603,701.41. Accumulated fund, 8.6 million. And a suspend account of 23,179.73. Honorable Chair, distinguished MPs and all other protocols, my Lord Mayor on my right and my CEO, these are the financial summaries of 2 years, 2019 straddling to 2020 financial summaries. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara, the Director of Finance at Banjul City Council. Now we'll have the Director of Audit of the Councils from the National Audit Office to give us the key highlights on the management letter. First, we'll have the audit opinion. Then we'll look at the audit opinion for both 2019 and 2020. From there, we'll look at the management letter for both years. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would refer you to page 6 of the 2019 financial statement, page 6. Page 6, yeah. The Auditor General's report on the financial statement of the Banjul City Council for the year ended 31st December 2019. The opinion, disclaimer of opinion. We've audited the financial statement of Banjul City Council for the year ended 31st December 2019. This financial statement comprised of revenue and expenditure statement and balance sheet for the year, then ended and a summary of accounting policies and other explanatory information as set out on page 11 to 33. Because of the significance of the matters described in the basis for disclaimer of opinion paragraph, we have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for an audit opinion. Accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the financial statement. Basis for disclaimer of opinion, we conducted our audit in accordance with the international standard for supreme audit institutions. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. The basis for the disclaimer opinion highlight below. I refer you to Roman number 1. That's the main cash book. The main cash book, which is the primary entry of the City Council's financial transfer, was not properly maintained. The double entry principle was not applied in recording and balancing of the cash book. The debit column of the cash book include deposits, which were treated as cash received, bank for checks received, and order for deposits, and the credit side, including opening balances, column for various bank week records, both receipts and payments, and a cash column. The balancing of the cash book at the end of the year was on the credit side of the cash book only and carried forward to the next year on the credit side. This has resulted to improper performance of monthly bank reconciliation statement, maintenance of proper abstract book and ledgers. Therefore, we could not confirm the correctness, timely recording, and classification of figures recognized in the financial statement. We could not also confirm whether transactions in the cash book have taken place. Refer to paragraph 3.2.3 of the management letter for details. The second point, on presented GTR, the council did not provide full GTR for audit inspection. We could not establish how much was collected and banked, the type of revenue collected, and whether they recorded and recognized the monies collected in the cash book and financial statement respectively. Please note that GTRs carry higher risks than tickets because it can be used to collect any amount. Refer to paragraph 3.3.2 of the management letter for details. Number 3, debtors and creditors ledger. The City Council did not maintain individual debtors and creditors ledger to record loan issued and received, repayment amount and balance at a given period. In the absence of these individual ledgers, we could not determine the correctness, timely recording, and classification of the debtors and creditors figures, such as receivables, advance and bank loans, and overdraft, and sundry payables recognized in the balance sheet. Refer to the management letter on paragraph 3.7.3. These are the basis why we were not able to express an opinion, and then we have key audit matters. These are some of the issues that doesn't affect our opinion, but that we think are important to bring to the attention of the management. The key audit matters are those matters that in our professional judgment were of most significant in our audit of the financial statement of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statement as a whole and forming our opinion thereon. And we do not provide a separate opinion on this matter. Detailed below the description of the keyword. That's the accounting policies. There were no accounting policy reported for the treatment and recognition of revenue and expenditure. I think the accounting policies issue is a cross-cutting issue for all the councils. Presentation of financial statement. That's number 2. The financial statement were not prepared in line with the format prescribed by the Finance and Accounting Manual for Local Government Act, Authorities, Chapter 9. These remain the same up to the time of completion of this report. On the 3, adjustment of financial records, the City Council did not show willingness to make adjustment of its financial records as recommended in our management letter. This was brought to the attention of management during our exit meeting, but few adjustments were made. For providing of records information, there was significant delay in providing records for the audit. Some of the records were provided after the draft management letter was issued. Council could note that non-providing of documents will be used as basis in issuing opinion to the financial statement. These are just some of the concerns, just to bring it to the board. They don't affect the opinion. Can now, with your permission, Mr. Chair, I can refer you to the 2020 financial statement. As the Director of Finance mentioned, 2019 report ends on page 34. Then you can just go to the page 6 of the next set. Page, is it? Page 6, right? Yeah. 2020 Auditor General's report on the financial statement of the Banjul City Council for the year ended 31st December 2020. Opinion, disclaimer of opinion. We've audited the financial statement of Banjul City Council for the year ended 31st December 2020. This financial statement comprised of receipts and payments, statement and balance sheet for the year then ended, and a summary of accounting policy and other explanatory information are set out on page 11 to 32. Because of the significance of the matters described in the basis for disclaimer of opinion paragraph, we have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for an audit opinion. Accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the financial statement. Basis for disclaimer of opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with the international standard for supreme audit institutions. Our responsibility under these standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of financial statement section of our report. Roman number 1, the basis why we were not able to express an opinion. 1, main cash book. The main cash book, which is the primary entry, is the same thing, because if it is not addressed, it's because these are things that will just translate to the following year. So it's remain as the one in 2019. So Roman number 2, ledgers. There were no ledgers for individual accounts for the preparation of the financial statement. Is the same issue. Roman number 3, debtors and creditors. That one also is the same issue. Roman number 4, separation of revenue. There were no disclosure of separation of revenue at 195,120 by the market main cashier as part of notes to the financial statement. In the absence of disclosure of financial statement users in particular, the council will not be aware of such practice to take remedial action. Notes to the financial statement. B, the 2019 notes to the financial statement were used as the 2020 notes to the 2020 financial statement. This will mislead users of the financial statement because of the difference between figures in the financial statement and notes to the financial statement. These were the basis why we were not able to express an opinion, and then the key audit matters also remain the same. That's the accounting policy, presentation of financial statement, adjustment of financial records, and then the providing of records and information on time. Mr. Chairman, this is the report, or this report for 2019 and 2020 respectively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Director of Audit, for that presentation. You may kindly take us through, sorry, are we together? You may kindly take us through some key highlights in the management letter. If at all there are some salient points that you would like to bring to the attention of the committee, we might have that, not to go through it in entirety, but just key highlights, both for 2019 and 2020. Thank you. I think the management letter was combined. Yes. After 2020, you should have it. Yes.
That's page, yeah, page 7. I don't know whether you did. Yeah. Executive summary, a 2.1, suspected fraud on confirmed GTRs. We noted on confirmed GTRs with serial number 806101 to 806550 recorded in the market CRBR These were not part of the book supplied by Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation. We could not verify the source and quantity of books received.
After the accounts for 2020, continue after page 32, you'll see the management letter, both for 2019 and 2020.
If you start after page 32, after page 32,
Okay, you are there, Honorable?
you will see
Now,
another
just go to page 6 now. Page 7.
page 7, yes.
Okay, good. You may proceed.
That's finding 1. And then 2.2, evaluating the financial reporting framework. We evaluate the financial reporting framework and note the following. The council did not have accounting policy in respect of revenue and expenditure. The 2019 comparative figures were not confirmed due to absence of evidence. The council cash book were not properly maintained for the year 2019 and 2020. No bank reconciliation statement was performed for 2019 and 2022. There was no monthly cash book and general ledger. 2.3, revenue. We noted the following weakness with regards to revenue. We noted suppression of collection of 195, but that is similar finding with the cashier. Some GDR issued to the main cashier were not provided for audit. Some individual Albert Market collectors' cash book were not presented for audit and confirmation. 2.4, procurement. As auditors, we also look at the procurement, and not to go into this, but we also have a responsibility. 2.4, we review procurement made for the years 2019 and 2020 and note the following weaknesses. We noted overpayment of 675,000 by councils to UXL for the year 2019. This was a result of difference between the contract amount and actual payment. Project proposal and reports such as monitoring and evaluation and completion were not submitted for audit. The contract was between the council UXL. We noted that council de-aggregate the construction of an abattoir and 8 stores for the year under review. The council paid 1,767,812.94 and 1,814,885.35 for the construction. We found out that the abattoir and stores were not properly constructed after spending nearly 2 million. The council purchased trash bins at 13,039,850 without tender procedure. We noted on deposit fund of 78,230 to the council account in respect of auction sale of a motor vehicle, Land Cruiser. The council did not conduct the auction of the motor vehicle in line with the requirement of the finance and accounting manual. 2.5, expenditure. The following observations in respect of expenditure were noted. There were a payment of 394,276 not budgeted in the approved budget for the year 2020. We noted payment of 200,000 without supporting documents to Banjul Relief Initiative. We noted understatement of 194,285 in the improper cash book. Payroll. 2.6. We reviewed the payroll system and noted the following. We noted that several key positions such as Deputy Director of Finance, Finance Manager, Director of Administration at the council were on acting appointment for more than 6 months as required by the general order. We noted that staff personnel files were incomplete. Documents such as birth certificate, qualification certificates, and appointment letters were not filed. Debtors and creditors, that's 2.7. The following were noted with regard to the debtors and creditors. We noted unrepaid loan of 40,000 and 136,429 issued to non-staff and staff of the council respectively. There were also unrepaid salary advance of $22,075 for the year 2019. The council did not maintain a debtor and creditors control account for the year 2019 and 20. 2.8, fixed assets. We reviewed the management of assets and noted the following. Fixed asset purchased for the years 2019 and 20 were not recorded in the fixed asset register. We also noted that the fixed asset register did not include information about insurance policy and date of disposal. Governance review. 2.9. We reviewed the performance of those charged with governance and noted the following. Lack of minutes of meeting of the General Council the Finance Committee, and the Establishment Committee. IT, internal control, 2.10. The following weaknesses were noted on the IT internal control. We found out 2 unused software, namely integrated HR and payroll software and QuickBook accounting software costing $235,000 and $221,000 respectively. We noted lack of access limit to folders here on the Council's Active Directory server. It was noted that share folders over the network, including account records, were accessed by everyone in the network. We found out that there were some computers installed with no genuine operation license. There was no external storage device for data backup for the files. There were significant security over the control of ICT, such as lack of antivirus uninterrupted. This is the executive summary for the management letter 2019 and 2020.
Thank you very much to the Director of Audit for the Local Government Area Councils at the National Audit Office. Now we'll have the compliance report from GPPA for the years under review, that is 2019 and 2020 respectively. You may take us through the key highlights, and at the end of the day also give us the rating for the respective years. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members from GPPA. As an authority, one of our key mandates is to ensure that procurement transactions are done in accordance with what the Procurement Act provides for. And in doing so, we conduct compliance review exercises, sometimes annually, but sometimes when the need arises, we go around to verify some of the procurement transactions to verify whether they are in accordance with the law or not. Now, the Gambia Public Procurement Authority have reviewed the council in 2019 as well as 2020, and we have a report here. And in conclusion, we will also tell you the final rating of the council in terms of complying with the Act and regulations. Now, I am here with my colleague, and he will take us through the key points of our review results. Thank you.
Director of Finance, you want to interject?
Yes. As far as we are concerned, we haven't got the review for 2020.
Director, that would be for GPPA to come up with. Right now, they will give us 2019. When they are done with 2019, when we reach at 2020, any underlying reasons will surface and we'll have the opportunity to go. So let's do the presentation for 2019 and then move to 2020.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I am here to present the annual compliance review report for Banjul City Council for the year ended 1st of January 2019. With your permission, can I only go through the non-compliant aspect of it? Yes, to 31st of December. Yeah, thank you. Can I go through only the non-compliance aspect of it and leave the implication and recommendations?
At your discretion, but what we need is just the overview. Because tomorrow when we come, we'll go for the substantive
no problem.
Consideration. So I believe concentrating on the key highlights will do that. The non-compliant areas will do that. That's okay.
I'll only go through the non-compliance aspect.
Okay, that's fine.
May I take you to page 8? Functions of accounting officer. Non-compliance. The accounting officer does not ensure that the procuring organization properly document procurement proceedings and manage records in accordance with the GPPA Act. As the documentations are incomplete, the GPPA forms are not attached, absent of receipts in most of the files, and no delivery notes. The accounting officer did not appoint members of the inspection and acceptance committee or assign any individual for inspection of goods supply as required by the regulation. The accounting officer did not ensure that procuring organization establish a specialized procurement unit as stipulated in the Act and in the regulation. You can move to page 9 on top, this still on the non-compliance. The action officer has not ensured that SPU, that is specialized procurement unit, is staffed with procurement professionals as required under section 50 and 51 of the Act. The accounting officer did not ensure that procuring organization prepare a disposal plan despite conducting a disposal of obsolete items during the period under review. Page 10, functions of specialized procurement unit, non-compliance. The SPU does not maintain proper document files of the procurement proceedings in line with section GPA section 35(2). Furthermore, the SPU does not complete the GPPA forms. The SPU does not use the GPPA solicitation document Form 101 request for quotation as a means of soliciting quotation from the suppliers. The procurement processes are not properly followed, especially in the procurement of routine items using single source and RFQ procurement method. Most of the GPPA forms were complete after the items are already supplied. There is no evidence of solicitation documents GPPA form 101 sent to the prospective suppliers. Furthermore, there is no evidence of evaluation criteria for most of the procurements conducted during the period under review. The SPU does not prepare and send monthly reports on single source and RFQ procurements to the authority as required by the Act for the year under review. Page 11, still on the non-compliance. There is no evidence that the SPU carry out periodic market survey to inform the placing of order by the contracts committee. The SPU does not prepare procurement plan for the period under review. Procurements were conducted by different people from various departments. Page 12, functions of contracts committee, non-compliance. The contracts committee did not ensure that evaluation criteria are provided to the potential suppliers during the solicitation process. Page 13, still on the non-compliance. The contracts committee did not ensure that procurement plan and monthly reports are sent to the authority. The contracts committee did not ensure that solicitation documents for RFQ conducted are prepared and sent to the potential suppliers to complete. The contracts committee did not ensure that evaluation reports are generated, especially in the RFQ transactions. There is no evidence that the contracts committee approved the use of single source procurement, especially those above the single source thresholds under the Act and regulation. The committee did not ensure that it holds the procurement proceedings, meetings, and have minutes of the same prepared as required by the Act. However, there is evidence of few contracts committee meetings, but these meetings were conducted in the absence of procurement officer. Our review reveals that most of the procurements, especially big ones, were conducted by individuals outside the SPU. Page 14, functions of disposal committee, non-compliance. The authority has not established the disposal committee as required under section 60 of the GPPA Act. The review team observed that Council has disposed a vehicle during the period under review that was bought for the mayor's 8 years ago, Toyota Land Cruiser. As per the minutes of the Contracts Committee, on the said disposal, a report was submitted by the mechanic manager in showing the conditions of the vehicle. The mechanic manager in the report recommended that the vehicle be disposed due to its high cost of maintenance. The Contracts Committee agreed to dispose the vehicle, and that preference will be given to the staff as per Section 63(1) of the Act. However, the accounting officer did not ensure that the report is submitted to the authority as required in the regulation, in the Act, which state every disposal made by procuring organization under subsection 1 shall be reported by the accounting officer or head of the procuring organization to the authority within 14 days of the disposal. Page 16, that is functions of evaluation committee. 15, okay, then you can turn to page 16 where the non-compliance aspect of it. Sorry. Non-compliance, the committee made summaries and reports for tenders and some of the RFQ conducted during the year under review, during the period. However, there was no indication that individual scores were awarded by each evaluator independently or rankings for each tender as per regulation, except for few of the RFQ procurements and tenders. The committee does not generate evaluation report for evaluation conducted on single source and RFQ procurement for the period under review. Page 17, Inspection and Acceptance Committee, non-compliance. The Council has not established examination and receipt committee as required by the regulation. Furthermore, there is no evidence that supply goods were examined by any individuals to verify whether the right quantities and quality was supplied. Page 19, that is, let me go through. Okay, we can go to page 22, procurement planning, non-compliance. The Banjul City Council did not prepare a procurement plan for the period under review, in violation of Section 29 of the Act. Page 24, specifications, non-compliance. During review of the procurement proceedings, we observed that some transactions had technical specifications that were accordance with the Act. However, technical specifications were not generated in most of the RFQ requests for quotations and single source procurements. Furthermore, the team observed that solicitation documents were not prepared for most of the RFQ conducted. There is no evidence of the requirements specifications sent to the potential suppliers to complete. The Council did not develop specification in most of the requests for quotation, transactions, and single source in accordance with GPPA Act. There is no evidence of specification or solicitation document, GPPA Form 101, sent to the potential suppliers in procurement of computer. We further observed that the said procurement was branded Dell computer.
Sorry to interject. I will refer you back to page 20.
Page 20.
Yeah, there is a non-compliant portion that you've skipped. If we can have that, then from there we proceed from where we stopped.
Okay. Page 20. Yeah. I'm going through. No, I have to put them. Okay. Page 20, yes. Non-compliance. The separation of responsibility by the POs is weak because the lack of adequate involvement of the members of the SPU. Our review reveals that procurements were conducted by individuals from all departments during the period under review. Council has conducted many procurement above the threshold provided in the regulation without seeking prior approval from the authority. The internal audit is only involved in the procurement process after the goods are already supplied.
Proceed to page 21. There also you've skipped a non-compliant
Okay.
portion. Yeah.
Pre-qualifications, that is page 21. No, I have dealt with that one. Okay. Page 21, record keeping of the procurement activities. Non-compliance. The PO does not maintain a comprehensive individual's file for each procurement activity in contravention of GPPA section 35(2). All the procurement files reviewed were found to be incomplete and did not have copies of contracts committee minutes, the goods received notes, acceptance and receipt notes, GPPA forms, evaluation reports, and solicitation document, among others. Page 26. Modification of tender documents. Non-compliance. There is no secured facility for receipt of tenders, quotations from the prospective suppliers as provided for GPU regulation. Furthermore, the bids submitted under the RFQ were not sealed envelope. Page 27, formation of contract. Non-compliance. BCC has not submitted report monthly and annually to GPPA on procurement transactions conducted using single source and requests for quotations annually, annual single source procurements, and procurement plan as dictated by section 29 of the Act and the regulation. GPPA form 006 200 201 and 103 respectively. The PO did not make report on disposal made to employees as per GPPA section GPPA regulation. Page 30, that is contract management, then it extends to page 30, that is non-compliant. Inspection and acceptance committee are not established as part of the contract management procedure in contravention of regulation 127 and 128. Supply performance review are not carried out to inform future procurement improvements of the suppliers on completion of their deliveries and required by the regulation Form 004 for supplier performance are not 004 for suppliers performance are not filed. Then we go to page 31, that is specific finding. Procurement of staff ID cards, non-compliance. The evaluation report for the said procurement was not among the documents provided to the reviewers at the time of review as stipulated in the Act. The procurement method is above the single source. This violates Section 44 of GPP Act. No GPP forms was attached in the procurement files. The quotation was not open in a registered of Form 003 as required under the Act and the regulation. No examination and receipt committee appointed to inspect or verify the goods during the delivery. The procurement was conducted by people outside the procurement unit. There was no delivery receipt as stipulated in Section 35(2) of the GPP Act. Page 32, procurement of Dell lab computer. Non-compliance. There was no evidence to show that the item supply was inspected at the time of delivery due to the absence of inspection committee. There was no delivery receipt in the file as stipulated in Section 35(2) of the GPPA Act. No evidence of delivery modes for the said procurement as required under the regulation. There is no evidence of technical specification for the said procurement. Furthermore, no solicitation document, GPPA Form 101, were attached. There were no minutes of the contracts committee meetings as stipulated in the regulation. The procurement was branded, that is Dell computer, in violation of the Act and the regulation. This Act discouraged competition as other suppliers of computer of other brand will not compete. No evidence of the evaluation report for the said procurement. Page 32, procurement of metal windows truss gate. Non-compliance, then you can move to page 33. There was no evidence to show that the item supply was inspected at the time of delivery due to the absence of inspection committee. There was no delivery receipt in the file as stipulated in Section 35(2) of the Act. No evidence of delivery notes for the said procurement as required under the regulation. There is no evidence of technical specifications for the said procurement. Furthermore, no solicitation document, GPPA Form 101, were attached. There was no minutes of the contracts committee meeting as stipulated in the regulation and the Act. No evidence of evaluation report for the said procurement. Page 33, then still we have air ticket, procurement of air tickets. Non-compliance. Evaluation report for the said procurement was not among the documents provided to the reviewers at the time of the review as stipulated in the Section 22(6) of the GPPA Act. The procurement method is above the single source. This violates Section 44 of the GPPA Act. No GPPA forms were attached in the procurement file. No prior approval was sought from the authority for the said procurement. The quotation was not open in a registered of Form 003 as required under the Act and the regulation. No examination and receipt committee appointed to inspect or verify the goods during the delivery. The procurement was conducted by people outside the SPU. Page 34, but okay, is from page 33, that is procurement of rehabilitation of crab public toilets. Then you move to page 34 where the compliance aspect of it, non-compliance aspect of it, that is GPPA Form 101, request for quotation was not used in the soliciting of quotation from the suppliers. No evaluation criteria were communicated to the potential suppliers, which made it difficult to establish the base of award. No inspection and acceptance carried out to verify the goods during the delivery. Procurement was above the threshold of for RF request for quotation, and no prior approval was sought from the authority. There is no evidence to show that the works were inspected by the inspection committee. The procurement was done outside the SPU. Quotation collected by the group that visited Austin with the Lord Mayor. The right procurement processes was not followed. The procurement filings was not complete, which is a violation of GPP Act. The forms attached are 004 from 100 but from 012, evaluation report received and minutes were not attached. Page 34, procurement, that is refurbishment of market toilet. Non-compliance. There is no evidence of the completion report in the procurement file, as there was no inspection committee. There was no delivery receipt in the files as stipulated in the section 35(2) of the Act. No evidence of delivery rules for the said procurement as required under the regulation. No evidence of solicitation, GPP Form 101, no evaluation report, and no evaluation criteria. Procurement was conducted outside the procurement unit, hence no GPP forms were attached as part of the procurement record. Page 35, procurement of beds. Non-compliance. The evaluation report for the said procurement was not among the documents provided to the reviewers at the time of the review, as stipulated in the Act. The procurement method is above the threshold of single source, which is a violation of Section 44 of the Act. No GPP forms were attached in the procurement files. The quotation was not open in the registered of Form 003 as required under the Act and the regulation. No examination and receipt committee appointed to inspect or verify the good during the delivery. Procurement was conducted by people outside the procurement. No evidence of delivery note in the procurement file. Page 36, conclusion. Using the above compliance-related variables and specific findings on some of the procurement transactions for the period under review, Banjul City Council was found to be 40%, which denotes non-compliance with the GPPA, Gambia Public Procurement Act 2018 and Regulation 2019. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you for the compliance presentation for the year ended 31st December 2020. We will now proceed with the compliance report for the year ended 31st of December 2020. Let me just correct myself. The presentation that was just done was for the year ended 31st December 2019. So now we may proceed with the compliance report for the year ended 31st of December 2020.
Thank you once again, Honorable.
Okay, just a minute. The Lord Mayor wants to intervene. Yes, Lord Mayor.
Thank you very much. I think, Mr. Chair, it's important also to inform the General Assembly that when we came in 2018, May to be precise, there was no SPU unit in Banjul City Council. Yeah. So I want to concur with most of the things that he said. But in 2018, when we came, there was no established procurement office in council.
I would interject there. That's very good. And tomorrow we'll have the opportunity to bring all of that Today is the presentation,
Yeah, thank
but
you.
tomorrow we'll have the interface. That will be between the council and the honorable members. We'll bring the situation as it is obtained. We'll hear from you, and the overall objective is how do we make sure we improve on the operational efficiency and productivity of BCC. But today we'll just receive the presentations as they are, and tomorrow the interface will set light on many of the things that are coming. But that is a point that we will note.
Thank you, Mr.
We will
Chair.
bring it up tomorrow during the presentation.
I was just speechless of hearing
No,
many
no.
irregularities, but I thought it was very important also to inform the assembly that when we came in 2018, there was no SPU unit at the Banjul City Council.
We'll get to that.
Thank
we'll
you.
get to that
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may proceed. You may proceed, yes.
Thank you once again, Honorable Chair. Now, like I mentioned earlier, our mandate is to, of course, review institutions and verify their compliance level in relation to the Act and regulations. And for the year under review, Banjul City Council was reviewed and a report generated and sent to the council since on the 26th of October 2022 by email, and that was followed by a hard copy. That was a draft, because when we generate our reports, of course, we also give them.
Sorry to interject. Let's establish the basis. Do we have a report, compliance report for 2020 or not? Once we establish that, then we can come with the underlying reasons. Do we have a report for 2020? Do you have a compliance report for Banjul City Council for the year ended 31st December 2020?
We
do not have a compliance report.
Yes.
So now let's go to the underlying reasons. Why?
Okay, like any other institution, the council was reviewed and a report was generated and sent to the council since on the 26th of October 2022. It was a draft, and we expected management responses to some of our observations before we finalized. All along, we've been waiting, and it is not until this morning when, of course, we are even on our way, when we receive a copy of that said report by email to the action officer when we were coming on our way. So definitely we cannot finalize, because we cannot finalize without responses from their management. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, it is being reported by the Gambia Public Procurement Authority that indeed a compliance report was generated for Banjul City Council, and it was dispatched since the 26th of October 2022. But the responses to the issues raised were received this morning. So now the floor will be open for the honorable members to engage with Banjul City Council with regards to observations made. Yeah, no, I'll allow the honorable members to take the lead. Yes, good. Honorable Suleiman Jame.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for giving me the floor. I just want to establish one thing. As you said, you send them the draft. So I want to confirm from the Banjul City Council whether you receive that email.
Yes, Honorable Chair and Honorable Councillor, Honorable MP. I wish to make one or two clarifications here. I think this body is very important, and then we cannot come here and then tell you things that are not right. The day we appeared, our first appearance, 2022, when all councils came, 2 days after that, this authority came to office to do the audit for 2020. And when it was done, a week later, they said they were done, they're gonna go and write the report. I said, no, you can't do that.
When was that week later? Can we have timeline to them?
Yeah, timeline was, I think we appeared, councils appeared. Was it October? There was a time that we were all budgeted, we were all programmed to come to this assembly.
When did they send the report?
As we speak today, because this morning I called the procurement office. I said, I've looked at the documentation, but I have not seen the final procurement document for 2020. He told me, no, it's still not finalized. I said, yes, because the last time he came to my office was the management responses to what they had. And I think it's healthy that when they come and look at what we do, we have a right for them to hear our version, which was done. But again, if the authority has not followed up, because like with the national audit, just to make a reference, they will give you timelines. If we don't hear on this day, we'll conclude. But that was not done with the authority. We cannot just come here and say it's pending with us since October. But somebody needs to follow up to me so that the job is finished. The national audit will tell you, if you don't hear on this day, we finalize.
Director of Finance, the question was,
yes,
did you receive
no, we don't.
ETPA report?
No, what we had was a soft copy through our procurement department for us to put our management responses.
So which means
it was done.
Which means you received the draft.
Yes, and we made our management reports on it.
Thank you. The draft.
Yes.
Did that answer your question?
But in soft copy.
But did you do your response and send it back to them?
Because all the time there's a link point, there's a contact person. When it comes to audit, Director of Finance is the custodian of all responses. We put our responses and give it to this procurement officer for onward forwarding to them to have the final document sent to us. That was done, but we have not received the final document.
Okay, now, okay, what we need, we are all partners.
Yes.
Okay, so the document that was sent this morning to them, who sent it? Is it from the council to them?
That's news to me, but for us, we have our procurement office who should handle procurement issues. Maybe it was sent to them by our procurement officer, but I'm not in the know.
So can you help me, Director, please? The document that you received this
let
morning.
me begin by saying that, in fact, we have a template of our draft reports where we will clearly indicate that this is a draft and you are expected, in fact, 10 days or at a minimum 5 days, that we expect a response from you by this time. That's one thing. The other thing is they have confirmed that a soft copy was received, that they have confirmed.
Draft, yes.
And they also can confirm because, of course, emails and WhatsApp cannot lie. We received a response this morning that can be confirmed.
From who?
And it's a response to that document that was sent to them. So I don't think we should, of course, waste more time on probably arguing on very simple things like this, because they are all on records.
No, what I mean, the response that was sent to you this morning, is it the full document or they respond you based on receipt?
Is the full report management sort of responses to our, yes, to our.
And the director is saying is a news to him.
It's from, anyway, it's from BCC. So whoever is responsible, already he has answered the question. They have a focal person. Our focal person there is the procurement officer. So
Yes.
what I'm trying to explain is that he already attested that
No, address all to me. I'm the chair. It's not on personal
we
basis.
have a contact
It's a committee.
person there.
Yes.
And is this contact person who sent us the report? In fact, the guy, the response is addressed to one Mr. Jallo, who is on leave, and it was received this morning and forwarded to Brang this morning on our way when we were coming. He can even show you the copy. And the question is, that is a response to something that was sent before. So it's a simple thing.
Thank you. Honorable, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Do you have any other question, or is there any other honorable member who have a question? Yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. we have observed that the issue of non-compliance is becoming routine in almost most of the institutions.
Sorry, Honorable. We'll come to that tomorrow. Let's do the issue of this 2020. The report, we'll have the opportunity to deliberate on it tomorrow during the consideration stage. But the 2020 report, that didn't come. The GPPA is saying they've sent, and BCC is coming with another story. That's what we want to deal with.
Okay, thank you. Then I have no other.
Okay.
Maybe we ask for more clarification from BCC. Why?
Okay, on that case, I think, can I comment? I just want to establish something. We've established that we don't have a compliance report for 2020, which means as a committee, we cannot complete our job because the compliance report cannot be considered in isolation. It must be done with all the financial statements and other ones. What we can establish is GPPA have indeed done a report. And there are legal provisions to this. When it comes to the National Audit Office, you do your response within 14 days. When it comes to GPPA, a letter of engagement will be sent first. Once you are engaged, the process starts. Then the issue of saying follow-up is no longer there. All individual parties have what? Their responsibilities. GPPA have a responsibility after the engagement to prepare a draft and send it to you. Once you receive the draft, the conditions of engagements apply. Is it 10 days? Is it 5 days? Is it 15 days? Is it 20 days? In that case, you don't need a reminder. In that case, it is obligatory upon the council or the party being engaged to respond. So now I will pose the question to the CEO, because we've heard the finance director. The CEO is the chief technical officer. Are you aware that GPPA did indeed conduct compliance on BCC and the compliance report was dispatched since October 2020? But the response, the management response, was only dispatched or received by GPPA this morning.
I think that the explains everything.
You can take the mic.
Yeah, I'm in line with that explanation, because if we can't say we are not in the know, because the engagement has started, as you rightly said. So I think this issue of not hearing from them would definitely not stop the process, depending on like on what end you want to start with.
But in that case, why did it take this long? Something that should have been 10 days or maximum 14 have taken almost 2 months. And here we are today, you will not have the compliance, because this is not for us, it's for you. It brings good faith and goodwill to you, because we will know your performance and you go ahead with it. But right now, the report is not there. And the inaction is coming from the side of the council. Why?
Well, the delays might have been, like, technically unavoidable, but though it's not the best thing to happen, though.
Okay.
I will be very honest.
I would allow the director of finance, and at this point, I would allow the mayor. She would also come, but let's allow the director.
One point that we need to note here: if there are failings on our part, we'll accept it. But if there are failings coming from an authority that is supposed to look at what we do in procurement, let them accept it. Again, what we in finance we call cut-off period. Even if the report was ready, 31st December, but the day National Assembly wrote to us to supply 30 copies of each of the documents, the report was not there.
Director of finance, let's establish the facts. First, do we accept, is it truthful that GPPA indeed did compliance on BCC?
Yes, but
is it truthful that indeed GPPA did dispatch their draft report to BCC and it was received?
yes,
Truthful as well that an engagement letter was sent to BCC before the commencement of the exercise?
no.
They didn't write to you?
No.
That they were coming for the compliance?
What happened? What happened? They summon councils.
Yes. That is an engagement.
No, they summon councils.
Yes.
And you asked us to forward A, B, and Z.
Yes. That is the
But the
engagement.
document was not there.
No, but that is the engagement. You were summoned.
Yes.
You were summoned.
Yes.
That is the engagement.
Yes.
Now, the moment you receive the draft from GPPA, let me just get this clear. GPPA came, they conducted their compliance. After the compliance, they wrote a report. That report will entail their observations on issues that management should address, which means what was left. The component of the report which is pending is the management response. That is not the responsibility of GPPA. So it was for BCC to come up with the management response and send the document back to GPPA so that they can give you the final draft. So if you did not supply the management response, do you want GPPA to present the draft here? That will not be fair to the council. If GPPA should have brought the draft here, then they would have unduly treated you. So now the responsibility lies in the council. You received the draft, but you never provided responses. So who should take the responsibility? Who? Is it GDPA or the council?
That is noted. But what I'm saying here, there are protocols for us to appear before you people. Okay.
No, what I want to note is this was not between you and the National Assembly. This was between GDPA and BCC. Our notice has nothing to do with that. Our notice is to summon you to bring the reports. But conducting the compliance was basically the function of GPPA, and you are their engagement partner. So now for us, we are just after the processes. Who was responsible to do what? We confirmed GPPA did the engagement, they did the compliance, a draft was submitted since October. But the response was not received. The response was received today, which means as of now, there's no final report for 2020.
That's true.
There's no final report for 2020. So the undue delayance, where is it coming from? Once we accept that, we establish it and recognize it, then we move forward with the remedial actions. I think that's all we are trying to do here.
Yes, yes, that is done. But again, the letter we wrote to people submitting our documents, even if this document was ready in November, it has already struggled. It has already passed the period of the deadline that we gave us to supply these documents to you. So there was no report.
Yeah, I think you don't have it. Let me allow the Lord Mayor to just come in. We move on.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you very much. I don't think we are here to argue, and I fully understand what GPP is trying to say. I understand it very well. I will not sit here and paint my institution black, no. But I think I can say we need a total reform in every institution. I understand our constraints. I personally understand the constraint of the GPPA, the constraint of the Gambia Audit Department, National Audit Department, and I understand also the constraints I am going through. What I want to say is, I don't know whether they receive it today or they receive it yesterday, but I want to inform you that I don't think there is no need for GPPA to lie. And I believe that they received that copy this morning, to be quite honest. This is what I want to believe. I want the finance director also to go back and try to put his house in order. If he does not know who sent the report to GPPA, that is only that is a lapsus.
Okay, thank you, Lord Mayor. At this point now, we've established the basis. Now, GPPA, you've received the responses this morning.
And I think with GPPA, Mr. Chair, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting you. It's also not a secret to say that we receive it from this office or we receive it from this department. And I know exactly. They said they have a vocal point. So if a vocal point, you send it to them. So there is no need for the finance director to argue with GPPA.
Yeah, I think that was healthy. We are trying to establish it. This is Parliament. We are used to that, and we will take it in good faith. But we commend you for the boldness and really being frank. This is how we get things going. So now, GPPA, the ball is in your court. You've received the report today, and BCC have taken responsibility for the undue delay. Will you be able to bring this report tomorrow so that we can do the presentation of that report before really adopting it in totality? Just a moment. Let's get that response.
Now, we can do that depending on the responses, because sometimes when certain responses are made, we may be tempted to make follow-ups or certain verifications of what they may have responded. But otherwise, it's a simple thing, taking on board their responses, and then we finalize and print.
So are you telling us to prepare for the worst case scenario that we might not be having a compliance report for 2020?
That is the worst case, but I want to believe that their responses will be reasonable, and we may be able to print it by tomorrow.
No, we cannot sail on probabilities.
Yeah.
This is a committee, and once we make commitments, they have to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
We cannot sail on probabilities.
Okay.
It's either we know that we will have it today, tomorrow, we get prepared for it, or we know that we cannot have it. Then we address the situation and move on. But we cannot sail on probabilities. I think your assistant wants to say something. Please.
Yeah, Honorable Chief, thank you very much. To provide the report tomorrow will depend on what we find from their response. That will determine whether we can provide it tomorrow or we cannot provide it tomorrow. Hence, they responded to the queries. Then we have to go and see, look at them to see whether we can provide it tomorrow or not. But as we speak today, right now, we cannot ascertain whether we are going to provide it tomorrow or we will not provide it.
Okay, that's noted. So, and then we will continue with the consideration tomorrow because the compliance report for 2020 would not be a deterrent. But we'll encourage the council to make sure that during engagements, we do not wait for other parties the moment it starts. Yes, Lord Mayor, I will give you this one.
Yes.
Because tomorrow the floor will be yours.
No, Mr. Chair, my worry is that anybody can send this because we didn't know who sent it. So, but then you know who sent it. Thank you.
Lord Mayor, what is the argument now? Tell me. You can take the mic.
The danger is we live in a technological world, and he said he doesn't know who sent it, and they said we review it. So it could be anything. So this is why I'm saying who sent the report. We can sit here tomorrow and receive a response from anybody, maybe from Mr. Faal.
Now have you confirmed?
Now he's telling me that it's from the procurement unit.
It's from BCC.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Just last intervention from Honorable Suleiman Jami.
Yeah, that's what I want to. Do you have your procurement officer here? No. Because yes, because I expect him or her to be here, and I don't know what is the relationship between her or him with the management of the council, because he should be here. In fact, that would have helped us to, to clarify certain issues.
And Honorable, that's exactly where I was coming, because we are also, you've listened to the, management letter together with the management letter is about audit, which means internal audit have a role to play. With the compliance report is about the procurement unit, which means the procurement officer have a role to play. So, and during the introduction, those two officers were not seen. So we'll encourage the council tomorrow when coming, so that you include the procurement officer in the list together with the internal auditor, so that we'll have a whole house that will aid the chief executive officer together with the Lord Mayor for the issues that will be coming up. Honorable members, if at all we do not have, okay, Honorable Suleiman Chan, you can take the mic. Sorry.
All the directors should be present, because if there are issues relating to their department, we may need them for answers as well.
Thank you. Well noted.
I think with the issue of this procurement receiving, and that the director has explicitly stated how the routine of communication, line of communication, that they have a focal person. Letters are communicated to the procurement officer. Then it is left to the procurement officer to bring it to your senior staff meeting to deal with it. So I think this is clarified. So, and this process we are doing, we are not like engaging in a push and pull situation. We are just trying to make things work, the system work. Okay? So thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable members.
Sorry, one more clarification.
You do it first. It's a presentation.
Yes, one more clarification.
Okay.
All letters are addressed to the accounting officers. And the accounting officer in the councils are the chief executive officers. So I want to make that clarification.
Thank you. Thank you. Point well noted. Honorable members, we would like to thank the Banjul City Council, that is the Lord Mayor and the CEO, for appearing before the committee today and for doing a complete presentation. And then tomorrow we'll be meeting at 10 a.m. to do the consideration. During the consideration stage, we'll have the opportunity to have an in-depth look into the managerial issues, issues of governance, the financial issues, issues of procurement. And then the ultimate intention would be to see how best do we improve on the operational efficiency of Banjul City Council, which is all of us our mutual interest. So on that note, I wish to thank the council. I also wish to thank the Gambia Public Procurement Authority and the director and representatives from the National Audit Office, our able subject matter specialists, clerks of the committees, and the honorable members for making today's session a success. On that note, honorable members, can I have an honorable member to move the motion that the session be adjourned till today at 2 p.m. It has been moved. It has been moved. Any seconder? It is moved and seconded that the session be adjourned till today at 2 p.m. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The meeting stands adjourned.